We're on Budby. Go on, say it. Looks a bit threatening. It's going to get wet. No, I'm safe from that. I've come. Stop for an hour for a wander. Just swing a net around. Say hello, Annette. Hello. And actually, this is an improvement. Or should I say an improvement rather than an improvement? I'm in Brenda country then. And what Budby is, most years. So there's a resemblance back to how Budby used to be before it was grazed to death. My opinion about it being grazed to death, which it is, as I said before in other videos, the condition of Budby has declined considerably. Huge amounts of scrub have gone, as is the usual conservation management want for removing every bit of scrub, classing it as the work of the devil. But scrub's vitally important for many invertebrates, but also for birds. Species like tree pippin and willow warbler, they forage in scrub, nest at the base of it. Birch scrub and pine scrub. That's why there were big populations on here 20 odd years ago. Now there aren't. And when you look across there now, there's virtually no scrub. There's a little pine about 20 yards out in the middle here, and a couple of bits of pine here. But to me, Budby's being opened up too much. There's one thing with management, they never seem, from what I've seen, to manage a site individually. It's almost like there's the big plan. There's a set plan for heathland. You manage it like this: 15% tree cover and scrub cover, not 16%, not 14%. And that's true, actually. It's a natural England thing. Oh, look at all this pine scrub. Mind you, I won't be saying that this time next year, and I won't be saying that there's a lot of pine trees here, because unfortunately a lot of this belt of pine trees, mature trees as well. There's one, in fact there's one really old pine in there, and if they ever take that down there'll be hell to pay, because it was as old as Robin Hood. But this belt of trees is important. It protects the site from pollution from the traffic on the A616. It cuts off a lot of noise as well. Just the other side of these trees, through there's a narrow strip of Budby that they've never grazed, they've never touched it until the RSPB took over and they started mucking around with it. Scrub removal, blah blah blah. Now there's a path that's been created through it. We did a survey on behalf of Natural England a few years ago, and we looked at the compartments, various compartments on here, on Budby South Forest, and the invertebrates in them, following a set methodology and all the compartments on the best part of the heath had less species diversity and numbers of species than the ungrazed roadside strip through there. And the simple reason for it, they've not touched that over there. Well, they hadn't at the time. So it was proved much better. There was a greater floral diversity, although you don't say greater floral diversity very often in regards to Budby, because there's barely a daisy on the place. Although in a few weeks' time it'll look lovely once the Erica's out. But like the rest of Budby, the Erica is in poor condition. And the condition, as far as I'm concerned, has got worse. It doesn't respond very well to being trampled on by 1.5 tons of English longhorn. But it looks as though they're not grazing this bit. In my opinion, Budby would be far better not being compartmented up and just left as one big area. Cattle are alright, but where you get the fence lines, they tend to do a lot of damage, a lot of erosion. But unfortunately, most of those pines in the distance there are coming out. I don't know why. I don't know. I really don't know the thinking. Anyway, we're here, as I said, to throw a net around and see if we can find any heathland moths. Micro moths, most likely. At the moment, I've seen one Agriphila straminella, which is testament to the conservation work that's gone on here in the past 5-10 years. This place, Agriphila straminella being one of the grasspaniers, numerous species of characteristic micro moths, being grasspaniers, they like grass. Well, the caterpillars like grass. This place used to be full. It used to be absolutely full. You would put grass veneers up with every footstep 15-20 years ago. But now, nothing. I'll say I've seen one, but we'll see if anything turns up or anything out of the ordinary turns up. Oh crikey, some gorse. Oh dear, they'll have a fit when they see that. Anyway, we'll have a wander around and we'll see what we can find. Just found, well, the first of probably many of these huge webs of the Labyrinth Spider. What we'll try and do, it has just darted in, but we'll try and get it. See if it comes out. It usually works quite well with tedging areas, not so with these, but these are huge webs. It starts here, look, goes right back through there, covers out, well, a good 2 square feet. Never used to be here. Saying it's a spider that, in fact, I'm surprised that I haven't found more, that is the first one. And it's isolated, and yet quarter of a mile over there, half a mile over there, the place is full on Thorsby Pit Top. And we have another rare sight, a bit of broom. And it's got an assortment of ladybirds on it. There's a 7-spot ladybird just tucked in there, look. And it does have Harlequin Ladybird here, with a Harlequin Ladybird larva just up from it, look. This is the normal form of Harlequin Ladybird, and the Harlequin larva, very distinct. The only other ladybird larva with a similar larva, and the patterning of 4 or 5 of the segments being orange down the back. The only other ladybird in the UK that has that is another Harmonia species, and that's the cream streaked ladybird, which is found on pines. But what I'm going to do is just give this a bit of a whack over a net and just see whether there is any lace bugs on here, especially after finding a lace bug yesterday over the road at Thorsby. Nothing I can see initially offhand, so we shall see. Nice evening. There was a bit of a breeze early on, but it's dropped now, but looks quite picturesque, doesn't it? In the distance through there is the top of Thorsby Pit Top, where I was yesterday. But there's an interesting feature on Budby that formed about 2006, it would be, maybe 2007. And the remnants of one of the features that appeared more or less overnight is here. It's going round like this, and then we go that way. You might be able to make out it looks like almost like a track, but it's sort of between here and here, look, and goes that way. And this is one of many fissures that, the best way I can describe them really, that opened up suddenly. Not only, yeah, there was one here, there'll be further over there, and then there was more, and they all radiated off to the left and right away across there and right into the far end of the country park. And these, they weren't just little cracks. Some of these, in some places, especially on here on Budby, they were nearly 6 foot deep and a couple of feet wide. And it's all as a result of subsidence. Right, just trying to be careful not to smash too many spiders' webs. Oh, we've got a moth. One of the crambids. It's in the Griffula species by the looks of it. And what they did with these fishes They eventually had to come with a bulldozer and fill them all in. And I suppose they've opened up before at Sherwood, and no doubt will open up again at some time. And all due to the subsidence from the pit. Now, if it wasn't for the noise of the traffic on the A616, there'd hardly be a sound. Although there's a stone chat just over there, it's just flittered. I've just seen a bit of gorse actually that's got some bird shit on top of it. And you might hear a sort of tack tack. Not them, they're crows, but it's right in front. It's about sort of there, it's on the heath, but you can hear there's two. So presumably they've bred again. And in fact, it's now on a bit there, there's the male there. If I get down, you may. Yeah, there's two calling. In fact, the male's just flown. Oh, there's two. Yeah, they've just flown left, so there's two there. So, by the sound of it, they have successfully bred here, which is nice. Just a shame I can remember days in Winchat last bred here. That's a long time ago. So we won't go near to where they are, and we'll cut back this way. The tree pipits. Stone chat still tacking away. Sometimes in winter this place can be birdless. It always used to. If you came on here looking for a great grey stripe years ago, you could walk around this place for 3 hours and not see a single bird. And then all of a sudden, if you were lucky, sometimes it might take you several visits, but you'd eventually connect with the shrike. And it was exactly like that. That's exactly how it occurred before I saw great grey shrike for the first time here. It took me 3 attempts, and the third time I saw something fly to the top of that pine tree. And it was the quarry that had been after for a while. It's a magnificent old pine. Anyway, we'll carry on a wander around, but there's good numbers of one species of micro moth. It's a gelashid. If I remember right, its scientific name is Aristotelia ericinella, something like that. And there's loads of them, but there's bugger all else. Oh, it's gone quiet. Just on a bit of Budby called Crown Hill, which is a bit of woodland with numerous access tracks up it. that were made by the army. In fact, the army used to camp here. One time a day, just over there, was a little metal shelter. But this is where the army used to pitch the tents when they used to come training. All long since gone. And there is a case to be said that there was possibly more diverse fauna here than there is now. And many people would probably agree, can remember it, that the habitat was better. And it was better because it was less managed. Oh look, more dots of gloom. I know what's happening here then in a few weeks' time. 20 years ago, this was the spot to come to see Nightjar. It had the best population in Nottinghamshire. And we all used to come here, bird watchers. If you wanted to see Nightjar, you came here. And you couldn't fail. There's a bit of a fence line across there, and there's a path. This is one large compartment and other compartment over there. And you could plonk yourself down just off there. You would have Nightjars flying around your head. But then they started managing it. In their wisdom, they started removing the scrub. And the Nightjars found that the clearfell areas in the nearby forestry plantations were more to their liking. So in effect, one of the species, the key species that they were trying to encourage and protect here, left it because of their own management. And a few years ago they were instigating, trying to put in recreate suitable nesting sites on Budby for Nightjars. After they'd spent all the years supposedly trying to improve the habitat for Nightjars and failing miserably. And this used to be a pond. Always held water. Hasn't done for years. It might hold a bit of water when we get an awful lot of rain, but it doesn't hold it for long. And they were trying to instigate, they were talking it up about creating some ponds on the far end of Budby, on the western end of Budby. But recreating this pond could be done relatively easily. It only needs the bottom scraping, put a liner down, chuck the stuff back on top, a good layer of stuff, pond. Fairly simple really. They waste money in other ways, so they can't say that it's financially out of the question, because they'll spend thousands and thousands of pounds putting these things up. Sky's the limit. Money's no object. Installing fencing to keep English longhorns in. Still a nice place, but it's insectless again. So I'm going to walk down there, see if anything else turns up. I'm not expecting it. and get back to the car. Budby used to be so better than this.